Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adrianna, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Megan.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
No worries. So welcome to Negotiating Happiness. This is it. This is my little bubble. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And if you guys want to check out some of the other shows on the network, they are also on Roku. We also broadcast pretty much everywhere: Facebook, Twitch, iHeartRadio, Apple, everywhere, Google Podcasts. So if you guys can't catch us just now, you can catch us on the replay because you will want to hear Megan talk about main character energy. I love that. So Megan, I'm just going to introduce you really quickly so that everybody realizes how badass you are. We are going to be discussing, the balance of business, boundaries, confidence, parenting, energy healing, and your book, Main Character Energy. And who is Megan? Megan is a confidence coach, a boundaries expert, and Reiki Energy Healer, here to help you own your weird and unleash your main character energy. She's the founder of the Creating Confidence Society and mastermind behind the Badass Boundaries Blueprint, on a mission to help women discover the magic of who you truly are so you can ditch your inner critic and get out your own way and unapologetically achieve your wildest dreams. As a clinical hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, and certified badass, Megan takes a heart-centered approach to helping her clients heal and release what's holding them back, overcome imposter syndrome, and let go of people pleasing so they can embody their most confident self, the one who goes after everything they ever wanted. She's the witchy, spiritual, Frankie to your grace, no BS, self-love cheerleader you've been looking for. I cannot wait for this.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
How's it going?
It is going well. I have a fresh cup of coffee in my mug. Amazing. And I'm just so excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, I always say, guys, grab your lunch, grab your coffee, because in New Orleans right now is noon. Here in Ontario is 1 o'clock. What time is it over there?
It is noon here as well. I'm in the Kansas City area, so I suppose we are in the same time zone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's dive in. Who is Megan? How do you want to come across today? Which part of your multifaceted personality do we want to dive into?
Which Megan do we want today? Let's see. Well, I'm just going to kind of dive into the whole thing, right? Yeah. So I am a confidence coach, Reiki healer, speaker, author, weirdo, lover of all things witchy, woo, and spiritual. And
I'm all about that.
That's like me on the business side, right? On the personal side, I'm a Leo. I'm obsessed with black cats. I have a daughter who's 14 months, and I can be cheered up with a pink drink and sushi. So I'm a little bit crunchy, but I still go to Starbucks. So that's
I love that. A little bit crunchy, but Starbucks lover. Yes. I love it. That's awesome. So how did you get into coaching? Like how, and healing? Because that's very specific. I love the niche that you're in.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it kind of started, and I feel like this is generally relatable to anybody who kind of started their own business, is they fell into it after a series of things that did not align for them, right? Yeah. So I graduated, I'll take you all the way back. I graduated from college with a graphic design and business degree. and went to work for an architecture firm, hated it, moved on, and went to work for a big greeting card company. Loved it, but life situations led me and my husband for his job as a chiropractor to Nashville, Tennessee. And while I was there, was working freelance contract for a company that really I absolutely just loathed, right?
Oh, man. We've
And
all
it
had
was
those.
it was a, I mean, it was a very well-known company that I did not fit in because I had a lot of beliefs that didn't align, right? I am super open to whatever your religion is. I don't care as long as you're a good person. And that they were a very religious company. On my first day, they asked me if I'd found a church yet. And I was like, I mean, I lied. I was like, yeah, totally.
Cool. Cool.
So
Yeah.
from there, I was like, I feel like I'm meant to do something more, right? And I meant to do something outside of the constraints of what other people want me to do. And I was on a Zoom call with my younger sister, like during all this time period, who had just been laid off and she was job hunting, and we were updating her resume and I was helping her practice interview questions. And I don't remember what I asked her, but I remember the way that she looked at me. And she stopped talking and she started crying. And she said, I don't know who I am. And, you know, big sister, right? I was like heartbroken, but I realized I could help her and I could help so many other people uncover who they were as well, because she was settling into jobs that she felt like she had to do because she didn't believe she could do what she wanted to do. And she didn't really know what she wanted. So it kind of spiraled from there. I went to a Brennan Burchard leadership summit and I built this. I was like, I'm going to help people learn how to letter, because I was a lettering artist at the card company. And I built this whole online course and it went well. It went really well for first launch. And I realized I loved helping people, but I actually didn't. Do we cuss? Are we allowed to cuss?
You know, the big ones. Don't do the big ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I realized I didn't care about the lettering as much as I cared about helping people have a creative outlet and be comfortable with who they were. And it just kind of went from there. And I started setting goals. I was like, okay, I'm going to start a group coaching program to help people find their creative voice. And it went from there. And I started pursuing certifications so that I could gain confidence in myself as a coach. And now here we are. The energy piece kind of all just fell into place over time. Part of my certification was Reiki. And after I kind of dove into that and realized I had like a natural like talent for that, I pursued deeper certification and attunement for Reiki level 2. So it's kind of all just been like a divine timing. This feels like how it was supposed to happen kind of thing, right?
That's awesome. So for the people that don't really know, or like a refresher, tell us a little bit about what Reiki is and what you actually do with that.
Totally. Well, you're going to love this. I knew you were going to ask what Reiki was. And so I was like, ChatGPT, explain Reiki in one sentence.
I love it. You use ChatGPT. People hate it, and I love it.
people have definitely feelings about it, and I'm kind of neutral. I feel like I'm neutral about a lot of things in the world because worrying about something does not help anything, right? So I said, hey, explain the basics of Reiki, and it gave me like 14 paragraphs. And I was like, well, this is not helpful. Explain it in 3 sentences. And it I was like, okay, explain it in 1. And here's what ChatGPT says about Reiki. And then I will confirm or deny.
I love this.
It says that Reiki is a form of energy healing where a practitioner channels universal life force energy to promote healing, balance, and relaxation in the patient. And that is all 100% true, right? If I would have not asked ChatGPT, I would have said something like, it's a form of energy healing where me as the attuned practitioner channels life force energy through my hands or through, since I am Reiki level 2 attuned, I can heal distance. A lot of my clients are virtual, right? I don't even touch them ever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like remote viewing where I sink in and connect to their chakras. And gosh, I believe, try to explain the magic of Reiki for many hours. But my biggest thing is it's one of those things where you almost have to experience it to understand it, right?
For sure. For sure. I feel like that's the whole point with a lot of these different practices is they're so magical because you can't really explain them in physical terms, right? Like
Right.
that's why you have to feel them. I
Yeah.
totally agree. And I have a very curious personality. So I'm always like poking people, but tell me, but you describe it to me. But I
Yeah.
understand that it would just be best to just experience it for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like if somebody were to describe what a massage therapist did, she would tell you, I rub people's bodies. And that does not describe the magic of what actually happens when you get a massage,
Yes.
right? The way that you
Yeah.
feel and the relaxation and the healing. There's so much more to Reiki, just like there's so much more to somebody rubbing your body through a massage.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. So you help people. You have very many different ways that you help people, and that also helps your heart because obviously this is something that you want to do. And I resonated so much when you said that we all kind of went through the whole stumbling into something and then figuring out that's not what we want. Totally, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially in business, because there's the pressure of like, I have to pay my bills, but I also want my heart to be happy. Right. And that's the whole point of why I started the show, because I wanted like the nitty gritty of you're making it work. Tell other people how you're making it work, and maybe they'll be inspired to make it work for themselves. Right. So thank you so much for you've already imparted so much on on our listeners. So what are some of the misconceptions, I guess, about Reiki that you frequently come across? Or how do you handle the negative Nancy's?
Totally. Well, I fortunately don't deal a lot with negative Nancy's because I have really good boundaries in terms of energy. Like people don't come at me with shitty things to say. Sorry about the cussing.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That one's not a big one.
That one's okay.
Yeah.
And we can dive into quantum boundaries as well. But when it comes to, I would say, misconceptions around Reiki, a lot of people think that Reiki is witchcraft, right?
Right.
And for me, I'm like, okay, like, so if that's what you think, cool. But also, how would you, I always respond, how would you describe Reiki being any different than prayer, right? It's channeled energy. And like, that's always my response is there's so many different ways you could look at this. And if you want it to be witchcraft, that's great. Awesome. It's magic. I love that. If you want it to be something less scary, you get to decide your opinion on anything, essentially, Reiki aside. But yeah, I would say that's the biggest misconception is Reiki is kind of like a dark magic type thing where it is healing. And they're actually coming out with studies about the benefits, like the medical benefits of Reiki.
Yeah. Well, it's just like how, they used to think that meditation was all like hooey. And it turns out meditation has incredible benefits on the brain. And we've talked about this. We've talked about how you can handle stress in your business, right? We talked about meditation. We talked about journaling. We talked about changing the way that we think about things. And that all can also be described as something that happens within. So I totally agree. I think people are just very fixated on like the Judeo-Christian kind of, society. So anything outside of them must be weird, or it just comes from fear, right? So I just wanted to know like how you handle it. And that's such a great way to just put it out there to be like, no, like it just depends on how you look at it. It's like it's educational, right? For the negative Nancy's, but that's awesome. So tell us about I want to know about the Creating Confidence Society. I want to know about your mastermind. I want to know about your book. Like, tell me how you make this all work.
Okay, so behind the scenes, sneak peek behind the curtain of my business.
Yes.
All the things. Okay, well, I will start. Where to start? I will start with So I'm celebrating right now the fact that I just won the registered trademark for my framework for my coaching, the Creating Confidence. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Creating confidence is like, if you can't see what I'm doing, I'm making a triangle with my hands, but creating confidence is this entire tier, right? And underneath of this is the idea that I have the Creating Confidence like course. And let me rewind even further. What is creating confidence? Right? So creating confidence is this beautiful 3-part cycle where it starts with self-discovery, right? That's self-awareness. If you want to create confidence in yourself, you've got to get to know yourself. So that's kind of the first phase of this cycle. And then the next phase is self-mastery. So we have self-discovery and then self-mastery. And what that looks like is habits, mastering your time and energy, figuring out hacks and ways that you can become like the best version of yourself, your favorite version of yourself, like mastering who you are. So we got discovery, mastery, and then we have self-expression here. And that's where the creative part comes in, the creating confidence. It's all a cool play on words, but that self-expression piece is the creativity, and it's the cycle. It's a part of the cycle where we close out the stress cycle. You're reading Burnout right now, right?
Oh, it's amazing. I don't know if I mentioned it on my last episode, but Burnout is a great book. I finished it, and it was amazing. The first 2 chapters are all about like how to close the stress cycle. So I was like, how did I never learn about this? Why did I have to learn about like equations that I'm never going to use in life, but not how to like deal with my own stress every day? I'm so glad you recommended it. I have to let me interject. So I'm in your Creating Confidence Society, and I have to say that when I first got on, it was more like, I viewed it more like it's some coaching with like lots of networking opportunities. And it literally turned out that it's like my therapy. I don't know how to like explain that. So every time I have a coaching call, I'm like, no, it's like my therapy, right? Because we do so many different things and it's not always geared towards business, but I feel like a lot of the members like have similar issues. So it's really helpful to like talk through it. So you can, and it's also very affordable for anybody that wants to do this. I just wanted to put that out there because it's very helpful. And it's not only, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people have had bad experiences with coaching because everybody's like coaching these days. And like, no shade to anybody. I've met wonderful coaches. You are one of them, right? But I have to say it's way more than just networking and coaching. It's like my therapy. I just wanted to put that in there.
I love that. Let me pull that audio as a testimonial for the society.
Yes, right? I will work towards you something if you want, because I literally tell people, I'm like, no, I have like my coaching / therapy call this week.
Yes. And that's
it's group therapy.
That's definitely a part of that self-expression, right? That closing of the stress cycle. And I created the Creating Confidence cycle like before I even knew anything about the Burnout book. So it was so cool how it resonated. I didn't really know the power of the creative piece until like the more I learned about anything personal development, the more I was like, oh my, like I've created something that actually like stands. Like, I made it before it was a beautiful intuitive download. I had no idea what I was doing 4 years ago when I created it, right? But now I have the trademark and it's backed by science, which is so freaking cool. So we have Creating Confidence. And underneath that, we have the society, which is the membership that you are a part of, which is so true that it really is kind of like one part therapy, one part coaching. There's journaling, there's meditating, there's learning. Community.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We have it here on the banner. It's heymeganreed.com/society if anybody wants to check it out.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I love that. I'm so excited about the society. And as we continue to grow it, it's so cool because everybody's gaining more friends, right? It is networking. At the same time, it's these really deep friendships that you, for whatever reason, are unable to create in real life, right? Because it's hard to show up with that kind of vulnerability in real life.
Yeah.
But in the Creating Confidence Society, everybody's there for the same purpose, and it's to create confidence and show up in your fullest expression, right?
Yeah, no, I love that. I love how everything is like connected, and obviously you can dive in more with Megan if you're interested in, if you have different goals, or if you've got, you know, different facets of your business, your life, whatever to go over. Also, tell us all about main character energy, because it's such a positive title. And when I found out what the title was, I was like, oh, this is perfect. So tell us what inspired this book, when it's out. Tell me everything.
All right. So rewind to last August. I was sitting in a nursery glider feeding my daughter, and it was one of those thoughts, you know, when you have a thought and you're like, where did that thought come from? It was like, I need to write a book. And the title, it was just like, I'm going to write a book called Main Character Energy.
It was the divine.
It was the divine, right? It was this intuitive download. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love that title. And then the second I thought it, I immediately started to panic, because I was like, what if that title's already taken? What if somebody writes a book and like publishes it before me? And I immediately was like, I need to trademark Main Character Energy right now. And so I contacted my lawyers. I was like, I got to trademark a book that I haven't started yet. and they were like, we actually don't recommend trademarking books unless it's going to be a series. And I was like, okay, so I have to get going.
You might.
It was like, I had this insane fear that this idea was so good that somebody else was going to put it out before I could, right? So main character energy is the idea that we are all the main characters in our own story, right? In our own movie, in our own book, in our own comic, whatever your channel of life, whether you view yourself like a reality show, like you're the main character. And this book is 32 lessons on how to lead a life with authenticity and confidence. And gosh, some of the lessons are really good. It's essentially, this entire book is witty humor, sarcastic anecdotes, emotional stories, inspirational, like, it's inspiration, motivation, and education. And when you're finished reading the book, you will feel empowered to step into your main character energy rather than being, you know, an NPC or just a secondary character supporting role. While you're supporting roles for other people, you yourself are the main character.
Yeah. And it's so important, because I feel like all of us go through a period in life where we don't know what we're doing, or we feel like we're not important, or we feel like all we do is support other people. So that's so cool that, you know, you're saying here's a bunch of lessons that you can go back and forth on whenever you're feeling like that, to remind yourself, like, find your purpose, you know, stick to it. Your dreams, your goals, they're important. And I honestly, here's me criticizing our society again. I'm sure people get sick of hearing it, but the whole like capitalistic view of like, I gotta work to pay bills, it's so crushing. And I feel like that's where a lot of it comes from. It's like, no, I can't focus on my dreams because I have to pay bills. It's like, cool. So then what am I doing? I'm just working to like living to work instead of working to live, right? Like,
Totally.
I don't know. So that's awesome. When is it coming out?
Oh gosh, I am currently in the self-editing phase. It goes to my peer reviewers next week and my editor at the beginning of July, with the fingers crossed launch date by August 18th, so that it will have been less than a year since I got the download, that I got it out into the world. Like that's the goal, that's the dream, that is the timeline we are on. So I'm
amazing.
And August 18th is, I'm, you know, main character energy. I'm a Leo. That's my birthday. I'm launching my book on my birthday, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, that just is meant to be. So if we'll get you on after as well, so you can tell people all about where to find it. But where are you planning on selling it?
I'm self-publishing on Amazon.
Great. Okay. Yeah. I have actually a client who was just on the show. She does kids books on Amazon. It's pretty cool.
Love that.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you've got a book, you've got a mastermind, you've got like a coaching community. You've just got it all. You've just got it all figured out. So I wanna talk a little bit about what's the crunchy side. I know you like gardening. I know you like tell me about your life, because I feel like you're living like a lot of people's dream goals right now. Tell me about how often do you work, like what your life is like, and you're a parent. We talk about parenting a lot, actually. A lot of people that come on here are parents, so we like to
Love
hear
that.
the good and the bad.
Oh, okay. Well, where to even start? I guess I'll start with saying my husband is a chiropractor, which I feel like that like prerequisites me for being crunchy automatically. Having having a chiropractor
Listen, I've
husband.
got an appointment today for chiropractic and massage, so don't even.
Love it. I love it so much. And
Yeah.
we have 5 chickens in our backyard and 4 6-foot round garden beds full of vegetables and compost. And what else? I would say if I was going to dive into all things crunchy, I'm big into essential oils. We cloth diaper our daughter,
Mm,
which was like something
it's
we
hard.
didn't know we wanted to do actually, and it's
Oh,
turned out to be really really easy and effortless, which has been like
really?
thank goodness, because we're doing laundry anyways. Like the whole big, if you're doing so much laundry, like you're gonna do it anyways, like you're washing
Right, right,
something. So
right.
um,
It's too funny because I was a cloth diaper baby because I grew up in Romania, right? And then by the time that my brother came around, like 10 years later, it wasn't really a thing anymore. So there's like all kinds of diaper brands or whatever. So now, like when I had a kid, I was like, there is no way that I'm like, I love the environment, but there's no way in hell I'm going backwards on my life journey. But I
right.
also have friends who did it, who I respect, and I'm like, oh, good for you guys. I'm like, I could not bring myself to like, that part of my brain who's like, that is not progress, that is going backwards, because we have this idea that like it's made to be easier, but it is a lot of waste. It is.
Right.
So the way that we tried to get Zach potty trained as soon as possible. So he was potty trained before 3. So I was like, yes, done.
Amazing. Yes. It wasn't, the whole cloth diapering was actually more a financial decision than it
Mm,
was an environmental decision, because we haven't had to buy a single diaper other than
amazing.
the upfront investment. So we probably spent maximum $400 before she was born on all her diapers. And we have not spent any more money on diapers since then,
Right,
other than the cost of washing them, right?
right.
It was definitely an empowered financial decision. Same with like
Right.
breastfeeding. There's so many things there's so many things society wants us to spend money on that we don't need to, right?
Yeah,
Like breastfeeding for me was a financial decision, and
yeah.
um, just like easier, especially when there was that weird shortage of formula around here.
That was really weird, actually. We experienced it too, and it was kind of really nerve-wracking. I wasn't great with breast. Like it wasn't doing it enough. I had a big baby, and it was just not enough. So both me and my friend actually were going through it roughly at the same time, and she was also panicking because her baby was formula fed. Again, not by choice. It just happened that her body wasn't cooperating, and nothing's wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with it. I did both. Like
Mhm.
for a long time, I was doing both. We always say fed is best, so don't stress. Um, but that we were going through a point where like we were going in the store, everyone was masked. Like I don't know how you like, the previous COVID whatever situation was, but here up here it was rough because we had a lot of lockdowns, whereas I don't think a lot of you guys in the States had so many. And we were going to the grocery store. Everybody was masked like top to bottom, everything, don't even touch anything. And there's moms crying in the aisle because they couldn't find a formula. Like it was heartbreaking. I was like, is this the end of the world? Like what's happening? And for a moment, that's what it felt like, right?
Mhm.
So that's wild to me with how that happened with the shortage. And there were
Yeah.
people who were buying it in bulk. which like good for you if you could afford it, but that created a lot of problems for other people who could not, because it's
Right.
not cheap. It is not cheap.
Yes.
So shout out
Yes.
to Costco for having cheaper
Yes.
cheaper baby things, right? But
Yes. And all of that, you know, is kind of why my husband and I have kind of migrated more and more into like, you know, the quote unquote crunchy lifestyle, where we want to be able to continue living our lives as if nothing is going wrong, because we don't rely on the government for things.
Right. Right.
Right. That's
Which is
like our
really
main
cool.
goal.
Yeah, which is really cool. Like my dad, so so Eastern European family, right? My dad he's really young. He's only like 55, something like that. But he's like got a really old Eastern European soul. So he's also very old school, but he's always been like, you know, stop eating all those chemicals and let's go like buy farm fresh foods. And when I was like a teenager, I was like, oh my God, like the biggest like eye rolls, like get over it, Dad. But now I'm like, I think you were onto something there, Dad. You know? And he always has like his own tomatoes. He's loved doing that. But I feel like if you could give him like a plot of land, he'd become like Farmer Joe and he'd be like the happiest. But that's definitely like goals to be able to just say, well, this summer we're not going to be relying on the grocery store because, or not as much or whatever, right? Like whatever your capabilities are, that's pretty good. And honestly, to me, it kills me because there's a lot of people that have these really weird allergies. Like, how can you be allergic to vegetables? And I'm sitting there thinking, you're not allergic to vegetables. You're allergic to the stuff that they put either in them or on them, right? And that kills me because I'm like, it already sets you up for failure in life. I would think about this with Zach all the time. Now that I have a kid, everything is a problem, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we continue, I'm just going to do a quick station ID for anybody that's tuning in. You are listening to Negotiating Happiness. And I'm here with Megan Reed, and we are live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. You will find us streaming on all popular platforms. You can also catch the replays there and check out some of our other shows on the network. They're also streaming on Roku TV. If you're a fan or if you have it, check us out there. And also, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, support us so that we can continue to bring you content. And if you guys have comments or questions, please post them in the chat. I see here we have and Kush saying hello. I'm sorry, you said it right at the beginning of the show. Hello, hello, hello to everybody that's listening. Thank you so much. And we are here with Megan Reed. She is an author. She's a boundaries coach. She is all things good. So, we were just discussing kind of how Megan makes everything work in her life. We talked about where she is, where she lives, her family, her business, and she's going to continue telling us what makes her happy.
Yeah. Love that. Is that my cue to continue saying what makes me happy?
Yeah, tell me what makes you happy.
What makes me happy? I think before I dive into what makes me happy, one thing I didn't touch on in our kind of last conversation, like how I do make it all work, is I'm very fortunate to be in a partnership where my husband, he's a chiropractor, he runs his own business, and I run my own business. So we make our own rules, right? And so we don't do daycare. I think we may love to do like a day of daycare here and there, but we're very fortunate that we just trade hours working. If I'm not taking client calls or speaking live on things or inside the society, he's watching our daughter, and vice versa. If he has patients, then I'm on full-time mom duty, right? And that works really well for us, and we're grateful to be so present in her life. It's been kind of healing and magical raising a daughter, and just, you know, getting to parent the way I wish that I could have been parented, right? There's so many cool things about being a parent that makes all the, like, you know, quote unquote hustle, all the sleepless nights worth it, right?
Yeah.
What makes me happy?
It's wild. It's wild, this parenting journey. So I hear
Yes.
you. I'm right
I
there
would
with you.
I would say my daughter for sure
Wild.
makes me happy. Yeah. Coffee. Coffee is how we do it.
Yes, lots of coffee. Apparently that's not good for you either. So
Well,
good for the soul, not good for the body.
I like to live by the 80-20 rule, that 80% of the things I do, I believe are in my body's best interest, and 20% of them I'm like, this is in my soul's best interest, right?
Right.
And coffee is in my soul's best interest. You know, I don't drink coffee after 2 because then I know I'm not going to sleep, but I still drink coffee, right?
Starbucks.
Yes.
We have, although here we have, I'm sure you guys have it too now because it was bought by I think an American company. We have Tim Hortons, and that's like your, I don't know how to explain it. It's like the beloved like home brand, but like also when you go to Starbucks, it's a treat. So like you can't hate. You know what I mean? You can't hate on
Right.
either. Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty good. Yeah. So tell me what makes. Sorry.
Well, we definitely don't have one of those. I've never heard of it.
Okay. They do, like, I think right near the border. Some of the states have them.
Totally.
And it's really cool because they have other things on their menu that we don't have. And I'm always like, what is that? You know, you guys have like so much more available. Every time we end up going across the border, it's like going out to eat is like a whole experience. I just went to a Chili's for the first time in April.
Oh,
and I was like, I love this.
Oh, you love it. That's so wild to hear. People hear like Chili's and Applebee's chains, they'll like avoid them.
Really?
Yeah.
I was more channeling Pam from The Office, and I was like, let's not get kicked out of a Chili's, but I need to go to a Chili's. So if you're an Office fan, I'm on that same track. But
I love that.
Which is really funny because I don't think in today's climate, The Office would have been very successful. So they definitely came out at the right time.
Yeah.
There are some cringeworthy moments in there. However, I think they meant well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So tell me, not mom you, not entrepreneur you, like Megan you. What makes Megan happy?
What makes Megan happy?
That sigh tells me
sigh.
it's complicated.
Current Megan lives in landlocked Kansas City, but what makes me happy is the ocean, right? Just that feeling of being near such a large, powerful body of water is so healing for my soul. Like the ocean makes me happy. Sushi makes me happy. Basically any kind of food. Like if you feed me something, it's going to make me happy, right?
Yeah.
A fresh margarita, not one of the ones from like a Mexican restaurant, like down the street, like a good homemade margarita.
Like just squeezed, just poured, just like, you know.
None of the mix, like no mix, like
yeah.
lime juice, like a fresh margarita makes me happy. What else makes me happy? I love being outside. I love digging in the garden, my hands in the dirt, like being barefoot.
Yes. You talk a lot about grounding yourself all the time. Tell us what that is. Tell us how that helps us and when should we aim to do it? I would really love to hear your thoughts on that.
Grounding you should do every single day, right? So what is grounding? Grounding is essentially it's exactly what it sounds, right? You're grounding yourself to the earth, and what that looks like is putting your bare feet in the dirt, in the grass, on the ground, so that you can absorb the energy from the earth back into your body. There's some science that I'm going to butcher, so I'll probably just not even try to describe the negative ions and the charged particles, like what happens when you are grounding. It is so wild, and it helps, calm your nervous system. Nervous system regulation is a huge piece of grounding. And I actually in my office have a grounding mat that actually plugs into the grounding port of our electrical outlets.
You like those?
I love mine. I have a lot of people that DM me. They're like, I don't feel like mine worked. And I'm like, well, what were you expecting to feel? Because you kind of have to manage expectations. When you go put your feet in the grass outside, do you feel anything, or do you just feel like good, right? Because I think with the grounding mat, a lot of my audience was looking to feel some kind of like tingle in their body, which I do, but I'm very attuned to the energy as a Reiki healer, right?
Right.
So it's like, it's not necessarily that you're going to feel electricity in your body, because it's connected to the grounding port and not the electrical wires in the sky, right? But I love
That's a good
mine.
way to put it.
Yeah.
Electrical wires in the sky. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird, but lately I've been so first off, let me back up to be like, most of us, we're so wrapped up in day-to-day life that we don't understand that we're not listening to our body, right? So one, I was thinking, I was like, why am I just like going on and on about like being outside? Why do I get this like, it's like this is my office, right? And I have really small windows and I'm always like looking out, like I catch myself looking out, or I'm like, oh, it's sunny out, I just want to go outside. And I didn't know where this like desire came from. Turns out that I got some blood tests back and I'm severely vitamin D deficient, like so far below what the average is that I have to take like vitamin D on steroids. That's like a prescription for like the next 8 weeks. So I'm just like, I wasn't listening to my body. It's the same thing with grounding. I feel like I get this like urge to like take your shoes off, go like, prance around in the grass. And it's more like a feeling of like, this is right. Not like there's no tingles for me. There's no whatever. It's just like, it's just right. I don't know how else to explain it. Do you know what I
Totally,
mean?
yeah. It's like letting your stress melt into the earth, and the earth
Mhm.
just accepts that and takes that from you, right? It's an energetic exchange between you and Mother Nature, which I hear how that sounds, but I mean it.
No, but it's true. It's true. And I think it's all part of this balance that we're trying to figure out, right? So for me, that looks like, hey, you can't sit at your desk for 8 hours. You, one, have to remember to eat, and two, like go outside, just go take a break, go sit down on your porch and take some of the sun. I always say this now, it's like, go be a plant, like plants just like literally look for the sun and they turn with it. So like go be a plant and you'll feel better as well, because you can't tell me like, even like, I love what I do. I love helping my clients. I love like thinking of new ways of improving what I do, but I still experience stress in some way, not like I used to, right? Like, again, we've all had those awful experiences in like the workplace or whatever, but I still experience stress that I need to kind of like offload. And that's really great, just going out and literally sitting out. Or my son and his cousin, they love throwing around a ball like outside in the fields. We have a couple fields and like walking circles. We have like a really great location here. And I just go and sit down on the grass, and then he just does his thing. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, this is really nice. Like all of the sun on me. And to me, finding the time to do that is crazy, because I feel like I should be actively doing this every day. I don't get to, but when I do, I feel great, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And something I always say to my clients when they're trying to find time to get outside and get that vitamin D and ground is, what's something that you're doing at your desk or your computer or on your phone that doesn't require you to be in your house, and go do that outside, right? If you're doing something on Instagram, responding to all your DMs, you can absolutely go do that while you're sitting outside in the sun and your feet in the grass. I respond to DMs and Voxer, my coaching clients, while outside, right? And that's me creating the life of my dreams, because I get to work from wherever I am. And a lot of times I want to be outside.
Yeah. So that's also part of our like indirect boundaries, right? Like you have to make boundaries with yourself. So tell me, in your experience, what are some of the red flags that indicate that someone might need to work on their boundaries then?
I would say if you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, full of dread, resentful, envious, jealous, if you're having any of these like feelings or sensations in your body, like a tightness in your throat, a heaviness in your chest, like a lump in your stomach, those are some really good indicators that you probably have some boundaries that you could work on. And what I mean by that, so boundaries are expectations that we communicate. And there's two different categories of boundaries. There's personal or there's internal and there's external. The internal ones are personal, right? They're with you. And those personal ones could be like, I don't respond to text messages or scroll social media after 9 p.m. Like that's a personal internal boundary. And then an external boundary is one that you communicate with someone else. And the key is communication, right? Because you cannot expect somebody to read your mind if something like we treat people how we teach people how to treat us. And by communicating our boundaries.
Yeah. We have Lori Lee. Hi. Thanks so much for coming in. She also has a show on the network here. Check her out. She's at 6 p.m. today. She said, I'm so glad you're talking about boundaries. It's so important in all aspects of life. Yes, of course, right?
So important. So when you notice those feelings or those physical sensations, that's a great indicator that it's time to sink in and kind of reflect on where those feelings might be coming from and what boundary could you communicate with yourself or with others to help that, not happen again.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good to know. And it's funny that you started with red flags that you feel within your body, because a lot of people they just think about red flags in your interactions with other people. But again, like if you're not listening to your body, it's like your first indication that whatever you're doing will affect you physically as well, not just emotionally, right?
Totally.
It's a huge thing. Like when I'm really upset, my body just shuts down. So I just go to sleep. Like it's weird. It's weird, but it happens because I wasn't listening. So I either get a really bad stomach ache that will force me to go to sleep, or I just go right next to sleep. And I was like, but that's an emotional response. It's a physical response to an emotion, right?
Totally.
It's wild.
Yeah. And so often we look at other people and think that they're the issue with our boundaries. But boundaries are about us and for us, right? So when we may be, building that wall, right? We're not building walls, we're building fences with gates, right? So we can let in, we decide what energy we want to let in and out. But when it becomes to other people, we're like, oh, I'm gonna put this boundary up to keep that toxic person out. When in reality, people are not toxic. Their behavior is. And when we can communicate a boundary, it lets them know that you're unavailable for that behavior.
Yeah. No, that for sure. I like that idea of like, there's a gate there, but I choose when to open it. Right. So that makes total sense. What, tell us, so I'm just trying to think of what we're nearing the end of the show, but I just want to talk to you so much more. Can you share some practical tips for somebody who wants to improve their self-confidence?
Yeah, for sure. I would say the first tip for improving your self-confidence is identifying what self-confidence looks like for you. And that's a huge piece because self-confidence looks so different for every person. Like for some people, self-confidence is extroversion, right? Like being loud and proud and in charge of who you are. And for other people, self-confidence is just that trusted knowing that you're enough just as you are and you don't have to be somebody else.
Yeah.
So a big tip, I would say self-awareness will help you build self-confidence, because with that awareness, you can acknowledge and understand what confidence actually looks like for you.
Right. It depends are you talking about in business? Are you talking about in your personal life, your relationships, right? That makes sense. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And that's something I help my clients dive into. A lot of them come to me thinking, I don't really have a confidence problem. And I'm like, yeah, no, you probably don't. You have a something else problem that's keeping you from being confident.
Right. So what advice would you give someone who is hesitant to seek help or coaching, but desires personal growth?
I would say if you desire personal growth, but you're hesitant to seek help, do you really desire personal growth?
Oh,
That's my question.
yeah. So what you're saying is even if you are hesitant, it's beneficial. It's kind of like taking that first leap, right?
Totally. Yeah. The hesitation is totally normal, right? Because we want to stay in our comfort zones because they're comfy for a reason. But on the other side of that comfort zone is transformation and growth. And our inner critic doesn't want that. right? Our inner critic wants us to stay comfortable. So that's where that hesitation is almost always a different belief, a different story that you're telling
Yeah.
yourself as to why you shouldn't ask for help or shouldn't do this, right? It's like maybe your inner critic is saying, oh, you can't afford this, or you can't, there's many different things like, oh, it won't work for you. There's going to be a belief here that's causing you to be hesitant on asking for help. And even on discovery calls, I dive in with clients, just uncovering like what that belief is that's causing them to be hesitant. And sometimes it's a real thing, a real reason to be hesitant. A lot of times it's just our inner critic, nervous about transformation.
Right. Which is like a whole, it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to read about it in your book. So also, if you guys are interested, Megan drops these truth bombs regularly in her Creating Confidence Society. But also, if you just want to get a taste, her Instagram is at Hey Megan Reed. That's HeyMeganReed. There's no H in there. So yeah, thought I would specify.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Okay, so we've covered your coaching, we've covered your balance, right? With you and your partner. It's great to hear that you guys have you are really lucky that you don't need daycare, right? Or not at this moment anyway.
Right. For sure.
We've covered some of the things that like your upcoming projects. Where do you want to be in, like, I don't know, 5 years? Like, what do you see for yourself in your future?
5 years. 5 years is a long time, and it's not at the same time, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
In 5 years, so our goal as a family is to have a little homestead, a farmhouse on an acreage with
I love that.
a big giant garden and some animals to sustain our family. Chickens, of course. Brandon wants cows. I grew up on a cattle farm, so I'm hesitant to have cows because I grew up doing those chores and I don't want to do.
I grew up with chickens, so I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, but like, I do not like cleaning up after them.
Yeah, I've been very clear. I'm like, that's not part of my vision, so you'll be doing those chores.
This is part of your vision board, not mine.
Yes. In 5 years, we will have grown the Creating Confidence Society to over 200 members, right?
Ooh.
My book will have been published, and I'll be putting out a 5th anniversary edition that I'm so excited about. And I don't know, in 5 years, I may have I have 3 books in the works. This current one, Main Character Energy. The next one will be called Creating Confidence, all about the whole cycle and how to make that work for you. Yeah. And the third one will be called Quantum Boundaries. I shouldn't share the title. It's all going to steal my time.
No, you're manifesting right now. That's what you're doing.
I'm manifesting. Yes.
In 5 years, you're going to go back and be like, I knew it.
I knew I was going to do this. Yeah. My third book is called Quantum Boundaries, and it's about the feminine energetics of boundaries. Like, we know what the masculine energetics of setting boundaries are, right? The how to have a difficult conversation, all those pieces. There's actually an energetic side to where, like, I don't even have to communicate my boundaries anymore. And I am excited to teach people how I do that. And so that's my third book. In 5 years.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. I'll continue hosting. I co-host retreats for entrepreneurs. I will continue hosting those. In 5 years, we will have hosted over 7 of them, which is exciting.
Tell me about your upcoming one, actually.
Oh, it's in Costa Rica. You would love it.
Oh, you're killing me. I can't make it. You're killing me.
Well, for everybody listening that can make it, September 25th through 30th, we are in Costa Rica. And so it's called the Hey Biz Besties Retreats. And what this is for the female entrepreneur, business owner who is seeing success in their business, but it doesn't feel like it because you're not taking a chance to step back and celebrate and acknowledge all the good in your business, right? And so this is essentially a vacation, a retreat for business owners to, one, obviously the networking and the community, but also to have fun and take a break and celebrate everything that you've accomplished And by doing
Yeah.
this, like literally all these things is another way to close the cycle of burnout. So when you leave the retreat, you'll leave feeling kind of refreshed and connected and rejuvenated to make big moves in your business, because you just spent the entire week with a bunch of high vibe people also making big moves in their business. So you are invited. We are actually, our card is closing next on the 15th of January, and we do have a few spots left. So if you're feeling kind of excited and interested in taking a vacation and making new business friends, I say this all the time and I mean it. Business friends hit different than like regular friends, because if you own a business or you're an entrepreneur, you know all the hats that you wear. And you know that your like regular friends could never understand everything that you do on a daily basis.
Yeah. So I just put it here on our screen. It's heybizbesties.com, right?
Beautiful.
And sorry, can you tell us when the card closes? I think you said January.
Oh, did I? It's January. Yeah, June.
June. There we
15th.
go.
Yes, the card closes June 15th. Yeah. So is that next week? I don't know what today is.
I think so.
Next Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. So if you're feeling called to like step back from your business, like stop working in your business and work like on your business, you know, create that white space for magic to happen, you're invited. Visit the website that's on the screen, heybizbesties.com. We would love to have you.
It sounds so cool. Like the location. I looked at the itinerary. I checked all the details out. It sounds amazing.
Yes.
And I've met some of the ladies that are going in the group, and I would love to go. It just doesn't work with my schedule this year, but I'm hoping that if you're going to keep running them, that we get to do this in real life, not just internet friends. And you were so right about, you know, business friends hit different, and that's also part of the reason why I started the show, because I wanted to talk to other entrepreneurs. It's not that your friends don't listen to you or don't understand or don't want to talk about this. It's just that you need somebody that you can relate to, because there are a lot of ups and downs in business, right? And we talk a lot about the challenges a lot on this. So it is 100% true. I agree. Is people that you find along the way can really like help build you up. And there are some people that gatekeep all kinds of stuff, but I would like to think that the people that I bring on here are not those kinds of people. So I'm super excited to continue doing this. And featuring all these like great opportunities and programs, right? And for the record, I would have never been able to connect with you if it wasn't for Jill, right? Because I didn't even know. And as much as social media is a huge like marketing thing for us right now, you know, in the digital space, it's not always helpful in finding your people. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for coming today. We have like 3-4 minutes left here, but I really appreciate your time, and you've shared with us a couple of gold nuggets that I hope that people put to use, or that, you know, they start paying attention to their own kind of feelings. And we've made it, you know, you can find Megan at heymeganreed.com. You can find her on Instagram as well at heymeganreed. And if you want to look at the retreat, it's still here on the screen. It's heybizbesties.com. We are all anxiously awaiting your book launch August 18th. And I can't wait. And maybe we'll get you to come on after as well, just to give us a quick reminder of what's going on then.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And, you know, anybody listening or watching, if something I said resonated with you, if you have any questions or you want to connect, I invite you to reach out, follow me on Instagram, DM me, share your biggest takeaway, ask questions, join the society, whatever feels right. I am so excited to invite you into my world and get to know you. I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm excited to continue this. So thanks for being, for being here. And thank you all for tuning into the show, whether you're live or watching them. We really appreciate you. Thanks for everyone in the chat room, and a big thank you to the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Next week, we've got some more goodies for you. So stay tuned. And if you have questions in the meantime, I do check the network chats. So leave them in there. And yeah, we will catch you on next week.